Al Jazeera Podcasts.
Today's episode is going to be audio only. No video this time, but it's a good one. Stick around. Today, the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, Jamaica's storm of the century.
Hurricane Melissa, the most powerful tropical storm recorded this year globally, has been life-changing for the communities in the Caribbean it has hit.
So how are Jamaicans coping, and what does recovery even mean after a storm this extreme? I'm Kevin Hirten, and this is The Take. Hi, before we continue with today's show, remember to leave us a comment telling us what you think about this episode, or what stories you want us to do next. Or if you're on your favorite podcast app, leave us a review telling us where you're listening from. And you might as well give us a 5-star rating while you're there. It really does help the show. So thank you very much.
My name is Robian Williams. I'm a presenter reporter at Nationwide News Network here in Jamaica in Kingston. And I am a broadcast journalist. I'm speaking with you on Wednesday.
Welcome to The Take. So Hurricane Melissa is the strongest to strike the island in more than 170 years, with winds hitting 185 miles an hour, the biggest storm this Atlantic season and one of the fiercest on record. I mean, the superlatives keep going. The UN's weather agency called it the storm of the century, and the Jamaican Prime Minister has declared the country a disaster area. So lots to talk about, but first off, how are you doing?
Personally, I am heartbroken. The tragic scenes coming out of our country, it's really, really devastating. So many lives upended.
Yesterday was horrible, horrific, terrifying, the worst day of my entire life, the worst experience of my entire life. To see my place being flooded out, it was terrifying for me and my child. The water level reached me to my waist. I was stuck in my house. They had to break into my home to save me. Right now, I have 3 children in my home that we rescued. We had to give them shelter, food, and clothing and everything. And we had to rescue like old people and stuff like that. And we are literally desperate for some help at this point.
I can tell you that the glimpse of sun that we're getting here, we really, really are thankful for it. At this point in time, it's been like 3 days since we've seen any sun, and we're just trying to remain hopeful as a people. And we're a praying nation, so we continue to pray and hope for the best.
So the hurricane made landfall near New Hope in the southwest of the island, and it's about 150 kilometers away from where you were in Kingston. Can you tell us a little more about this area, how accessible it is, and what you are hearing about the situation there at the moment?
The system made landfall in close proximity to several parishes. We're talking about St. Elizabeth, we're talking about Westmoreland, and also St. James, Clarendon. So these parishes here in Jamaica were severely affected. Loss of life, loss of property, damage to infrastructure, you name it. The strength of the winds, we call her monstrous Melissa here in Jamaica. It's just devastating in those specific parishes.
Okay, so maybe you can paint us a picture of what a typical coastal town might look like in this area. We're seeing all these videos of tin roofs that are blowing off, and the structures that are there, the homes there, the utility infrastructure in Southwest Jamaica, is it particularly vulnerable to a storm like this?
Very, very vulnerable. If you recall last year, the 2024 Hurricane Atlantic season, we got Hurricane Beryl. Did not make a direct landfall. However, we were severely impacted, especially those parishes that I spoke about, those coastal communities. We're talking about the famous Treasure Beach, the Jake's Hotel. Those areas have been significantly impacted in St. Elizabeth. And you can imagine we've still been recovering from Hurricane Beryl. And for a Category 5 hurricane to make landfall, direct landfall in this area, the road to recovery will definitely be long. The magnitude of Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 making direct landfall, it was just monstrous, devastating.
I think it's going to be rough, and I think we're going to have people get injured, worse than what we thought about. Because a lot of people lost roof and so forth. But we still have to pick up the pieces and move on.
It was terrible. The wind, it was violent. It was terrible for all of us. I have a son here, and believe me, he was actually crying.
I mean, the stories are really heartbreaking. Let me ask you about the hospitals. Are the hospitals filling up? Are they online? Do they have power?
At this point in time, assessments are being done concerning our health facilities. I can tell you that hospitals along the coastal areas, they're still trying to piece together things because roofs were torn off. In the midst of the storm, they had to be relocating. And prior to the storm, preparations were made for patients to be relocated because we realized that these areas are vulnerable, and we put in place, the government put in place certain protocols, certain measures to have things done before the landfall of the storm.
And what about the bodies? Without power, do they have access to morgues? I mean, do you have any idea how they're going to be disposing of the bodies?
Our first responders are our heroes at this point in time. They're still searching. So as of Wednesday morning at around 11:30, we confirmed that the death toll has risen to 7 here in Jamaica associated with Hurricane Melissa. 3 prior to the hurricane in preparation mode. There were 3 deaths recorded, but following the passing of the storm, we're now hearing that search is underway, especially in St. Elizabeth, and it's just really heartbreaking, devastating to imagine that lives have been lost and to know that it's likely that the authorities will be finding more. It's just truly frightening, and we're just hoping and praying. At present, I can't even imagine what our citizens in the western end of the island are facing. Citizens without homes at this point in time, without a bed. We feel for our brothers, we feel for our sisters, because in Kingston, we weren't severely impacted as they were, and our hearts or prayers go out to our people in the western end of the island. As it relates to food, I can tell you that the government has made preparations for care packages, relief supplies to be sent to the most vulnerable, the affected areas. We are being told that the recovery efforts are in play. We got the all clear from the Prime Minister concerning the recovery efforts. We can now go out, we can assess our properties. So that is what is happening currently. And I know that we are a people, we're strong, we're resilient, and we care for our own. So for our neighbors who are in a better off position than some of us, I know that they will chime in, they will assist, they will help, because at this point in time, it's all about the assistance being given to those in need.
Okay, I know communication and power outages have made it hard to reach some areas. I've heard this described as a race against time. How have authorities been responding so far? And if the main roads are out, what are the other options? How can the government get to some of these remoter areas that may have people who have been killed or are displaced?
So at present, the last we heard, there are over 500,000 people without electricity, without connectivity. And with news coming from our local media that people have been found dead, you can imagine for relatives who are living overseas, who are living in other parts of the country, how they are feeling at this present time, not knowing if their relative is among the dead. Those without power, we're trying to get connectivity. The Jamaica Public Service Company, or utility company, they have brought in line workers from the Caribbean and also from America as well to try to assist with recovery efforts as it relates to connectivity and electricity, water disruptions. We're on our way to connectivity at this point in time, and they're doing their very best. And our utility providers, they are racing against time, as you rightfully said, to just bring us back to connectivity. At present, We are still assessing. You can imagine the devastation. It's widespread. There are first responders that are involved, the police, the fire brigade. These people are actually out in the field at this point in time conducting assessment. Airports remain closed at this point in time. We're bracing for more rains. So you can imagine that the assessment will also be impacted because we've heard that we're supposed to brace for more rains for the coming days into the weekend. So we're still under a tropical storm watch. We're not under a hurricane watch at this present moment.
We'll have more after the break. So tourism makes up a big part of Jamaica's economy, with millions visiting each year. We know there were about 25,000 tourists on the island when the hurricane hit. What's the situation for them at the moment?
I can tell you that they're still bunkered down in these hotels.
I were lying down on the bed and all of a sudden, everything, the windows shattered, everything. Like, thank God we had the mattress and everything there because the glass would have came at us. And then from that, we just grabbed all the essentials, ran into the bathroom, and we stayed there.
The airports are closed. There's necessarily no way of getting out of Jamaica at this point in time. So they have to just sit, be patient with us, and wait until everything is actually functioning as it was before monstrous Hurricane Melissa.
The Prime Minister's office says hotels are offering distress rates and shelter spaces for stranded tourists. But do you worry that the government is showing the same level of care and support for its own citizens right now? Is it prioritizing the needs of these foreigners?
We are showing the same level. We are all impacted. Whether you're a tourist, whether you're a local, we've all experienced a traumatic storm. This one is for the history books. We've never had a Category 5 hurricane. And you can imagine the trauma that some tourists may feel, some locals may feel. But I can tell you that it's a level playing field here in Jamaica. Everything is being seen as a priority by our government, whether you're a local, whether you're a foreign national. We treat each and everybody the same. We're a caring nation, and we just want for everybody to feel as though we can recover. Despite this, we can stand together, we can unite, we can recover from this.
The country has been through big hurricanes before. Gilbert in 1988 is the only one to make direct landfall. There's Ivan in 2004, and then Beryl was just last year. How do you think Melissa compares to those storms? I know it's early, but does this feel much, much bigger?
There's no comparison. It pales in comparison to all the hurricanes we've experienced. I know Gilbert, it's a close one to Gilbert, but this was a Category 5. And you can imagine the winds. You mentioned the wind speed earlier. You can imagine that it's stronger, it was more powerful than anything we've experienced.
I'm 54 and I witnessed about 3 dangerous storms. I was talking about first Gilbert, Ivan, Emily, but this one was worse. It was terrible. The wind, it was violent. It was terrible for all of us.
I spoke of the severe areas impacted, and focus is being placed all around, but more focus is being placed on those who are displaced, those who lost their homes, the relatives of those people who lost their lives in this monstrous storm. But I can tell you, to answer your question, Hurricane Melissa is one for the history books here in Jamaica.
Yeah. I mean, and also there's an aspect of you have to be ready for every storm because the water is so strong. Melissa and other storms like it, they intensify. They can go from Category 1 to Category 5 so quickly that you really need to start taking every storm, no matter how weak it might look a few days out. You need to be prepared for the worst, right?
We prepared as best as we possibly could. We had approximately 5 days knowing very well that Melissa was on her way slowly. We've been so anxious here in anticipation. I can tell you that 900 shelters were opened here in Jamaica, accessible to persons who wanted to go. Not many took up that offer. At present, over 1,000 people remain in shelters at this point in time. We're going out just trying to assess the damage of property and the devastation. But we prepared. The gullies, the drains were cleaned. Our Prime Minister did say, and our Works Minister here in Jamaica did say that our system, our drainage system, was not prepared, was not designed for the magnitude of water, the flow of water that we experienced. So as much as we possibly could, plans and preparations were put in place for Hurricane Melissa. It was just devastating all around, because no matter how you prepare, we can't prepare for this. It's just heartrending to see all of what's been happening here in Jamaica.
And finally, Hurricane Melissa is tied for the strongest Atlantic hurricane at landfall on record. And as the water warms due to climate change, these storms are only going to get stronger. Jamaica is only responsible for 0.02% of global emissions, yet it's now paying a very steep price. What is Jamaica doing on the world stage to demand climate justice and try to right this wrong that is being done to it as we speak?
I can tell you that we've been engaged globally, and we take climate change seriously as a government and as a people. Not many of us are aware of the dangers of the activities that we do on a daily basis, how it really impacts climate change. I believe a little bit more public education can be done in that regard, because we sometimes forget. So climate change, I can tell you that we've been engaging on a global stage, and we continue to do so. The Paris Agreement, I know that we are signatory to that. We've been signatories to other climate change agreements around the world. And our Minister of Climate Change, he's been a strong advocate. He's been doing a lot, I can tell you, in and around the country globally, to just put us on a platform. We know it affects and impacts systems like a hurricane, and we're doing our very best. We've had several legislation put in place concerning climate change or environmental groups. They're very active here in Jamaica. And we continue to just drive home the fact that climate change is real. It's a serious issue. You may not feel it now, but we may be impacted in the near future.
And that's The Take. This episode was produced by Sarí, al-Khalili, and Melanie Marich, with Tamara Khandaker, Marcos Bartolomé, Farhan Rafid, Fatima Shafiq, and me, Kevin Hirten. It was edited by Noor Wazwaz. Our sound designer is Alex Roldan. Our video editors are Hisham Abu Salah and Mohannad al-Melhem. Alexandra Locke is The Take's executive producer. Ney Alvarez is Al Jazeera's head of audio. We'll be back tomorrow.